Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Anon Streams. I'm Ananya Batra and I have proudly been a volunteer with the Anon Global Foundation since 2021. Feeling stressed, feeling like you're constantly plugged into the digital world and yearning for a break? Um, you're not alone, but guess what? There's a secret weapon waiting for you right outside your door, or maybe even down the street. Wondering what I'm talking about? What am I even speaking? Right outside your door, or maybe even down the street? Okay, let me give you some hints. Something that is everywhere around us. Something that keeps the ecosystem in loop. You guessed it right. I'm talking about the power of nature. Indeed, a rejuvenating and a transformative power. Today, we are delving into the profound impact of spending time outdoors on our mental well being. Our focus will be on ecotherapy and the transformative influence of green spaces. I am thrilled to announce our guest for today, Ms. Shammi Proothi, an ardent champion of ecotherapy and its ability to enhance our well being. She is none other than the Vice President at a non global foundation. She has conducted her dissertation research on sustainable well being. I am more than honored to have you here with us, ma'am.
Namaste and thank you, Ananya. It's a pleasure is entirely mine to be here talking to you because having interns like you is really a blessing, and I'm so happy to be doing this podcast with you. Thank you.
This means the world to me, ma'am, and I'm looking for a very, very insightful conversation with you today.
Same
Um,
here.
so, ma'am, can you help us break down this term, ecotherapy? What is it exactly?
Right, Ananya. So, before we explore this term ecotherapy, let's take a moment and consider the analogy of building a house, right? So, just as a house is constructed with various materials like concrete, cement, bricks, steel, wood, glass, right? And all these elements, specifically the concrete, which is made up of cement and sand and water and stones and pebbles, etc., it has to be in a perfect proportion, and these proportions helps build the quality or the construction of a house more stable. Now imagine if the proportions of these elements were not balanced within the construction of a house. For instance, there is an excess of sand compared to cement, or if the steel used is not adequate to support the weight of the building, the structure would be unstable. It would be prone to collapse. Similarly, our bodies, the house that we live in for 60, 70, 80, or maybe 100 years, whatever our life is, it is also made up of certain elements. हमारे वेदों में, हमारे स्क्रिप्चर्स में it is said that ये जो शरीर है, this body is made up of the panch tattvas, the five elements. What are those five elements? Earth, yani bhumi. Water means pani or jal. Fire is agni. Air, hava ya vayu. And ether, the akash or the asman. Right? So, as we talked about the house, if the elements are not in perfect proportion, then it doesn't support the weight or the quality of the house is not maintained. और क्या हो सकता है, कहीं पे भी instability आती है और collapse हो जाता है. इसी तरह से our bodies, they also require a balance of these five elements. Why? To maintain the harmony, to maintain optimal functioning and balancing of this body. Now, if any of these elements within our body become imbalanced, तो होता क्या है? It leads to any kind of physical, mental, or emotional disturbance. For example, if there is an excess of fire element within my body, It might manifest as inflammation, anger, high BP, or if there is an imbalance of water element, it leads to issues like dehydration and so forth. Like, the examples are many. यानी कि हमें इस बॉडी को अगर परफेक्टली चलाना है तो हमें इन एलिमेंट्स को बैलेंस रखना है. And if you see, all these elements are what is found in nature, whether it is earth, water, fire, air, or the sky or ether. इसीलिए हमारे स्क्रिप्चर्स में कहते हैं माता भूमि putro aham prithvi, which means this earth is my mother and I am the child or the son of this land, this prithvi. और जब इनका रिलेशनशिप बैलेंस्ड होता है, जब ये आपस में एक दूसरे से हार्मनी में रहते हैं, तो क्या रहता है? द मदर ऑल्सो थ्राइव्स एंड द चाइल्ड ऑल्सो थ्राइव्स. So now let's transition to what you said, ecotherapy. Ecotherapy is also known as nature therapy or green therapy. Now, what it is a therapeutic approach, and it recognizes the healing powers of nature on our physical, mental, emotional well-being. It also acknowledges the interconnectedness between humans and the natural world, the ecosystem. इसलिए हम कहते हैं ना वासुदेव कुटुंबकम, यानी कि ये entire ecosystem, सभी पूरा universe जो है वो मेरा परिवार है. Not only the human beings but also the elements that exist in the universe. So it is the interconnectedness between the humans and the natural world that has the healing power. Now, ecotherapy emphasizes the importance of nurturing this relationship for our holistic health. जो हमने बात करी कि अगर मदर और सन का, चाइल्ड का जो रिलेशनशिप है वो खूबसूरत होगा, वो एक दूसरे से कनेक्ट होते रहेंगे, मिलते रहेंगे, तो कैसा रहेगा? हमारी होलिस्टिक हेल्थ होगी. To this extent, I'll also, bring your attention कि हम हमेशा जब we worship, we pray, we say हे भगवान, हम भगवान की पूजा करते हैं. अब भगवान है क्या? भगवान में is made up of 5 letters. भ मतलब भूमि, ग मतलब गगन और the sky, व मतलब वायु, air, A means Agni or the fire, and Na means Neer, that is the water. So it sums it all up that we have a symbiotic relationship with the ecosystem, and that's why we have been worshipping this nature right from the thousands of years that our existence has been. So what happens is, Ananya, हम जब अपने आप को इमर्स कर देते हैं completely in nature, and when I say immerse, it doesn't mean just going and spending or being there. It is that when we surround ourselves with these 5 elements, these are in the purest form, the pristine form, and what happens is we engage all our senses, the sense of sight, smell, taste, touch, all these senses are engaged, and then the nature helps restore balance within ourselves. It grounds us, it calms our mind and rejuvenates our spirits. So just like the well-constructed house requires a balance of materials, our bodies and minds thrive when we honor the balance of elements within us and which nature effortlessly provides. पर हम क्या करते हैं ना, हम तो फिर we run after the materialistic things. So having run after the materialistic things for like now decades and centuries, and having ignored nature, now we are being forced to go back because the anxiety levels, the stresses, and the depressions have gone to an all-time high. Now, ecotherapy is a fancy name of what we have been doing for thousands of years. Ecotherapy made the therapists, they have structured activities like spending time in the forest, doing gardening, hiking, or simply spending time outdoors, which serves as the powerful healing modalities. And when we connect with nature, we realign with the natural rhythm of life. We find solace, inspiration, and renewal. तो जब आपने कहा ना कि it is just right outdoors, yes, it is next to ourselves. We just need to open our eyes. We just need to open our door and step out of the air-conditioned homes and offices that we are always, surrounded with.
Oh my God, this was such a fascinating start. I mean, ma'am, personally, I asked you a very simple question: what is ecotherapy? But the methodology through which you explained it to us, giving the example of the concrete house, then moving on to when we pray to Lord, we pray to Bhagwanji. I honestly never knew the essence that when you broke down the word Bhagwanji. So it was so. I mean, it was an eye opener. So now I realize why parents always say go out, play, do not keep on sitting, and do not just keep on mugging up things. Go out, go for a walk. So now I understand that it is better to focus on nature when we go out rather than just going for posting an Instagram picture online with a pretty park, because I feel that it is indeed ecotherapy. What I understood is a deeper connect with nature. I mean, when we are out, it's just not being we are out and thinking about other things in the mind, but actually looking for happiness when we are in the nature. Am I right on this, ma'am?
Absolutely. I will like you to consider जब आप कभी we at times go on a holiday or a vacation to hill stations or places in nature, sea के आसपास, you must have seen all the things that you are always carrying in your mind, that ये काम करना है, this is the stress, or probably a lot of things going on in your mind. But as you reach there, you feel that all those thoughts have suddenly evaporated. You don't even realize. Yeah. Even when we go out in a simple park for a walk, and we tend to feel that calmness within. तो बिल्कुल आप सही कह रहे हो. इसमें एक चीज मैं आपको यहाँ पर और बताऊंगी अनन्या. आपने देखा होगा कि when we sit in front of the digital cameras and these Instagram की चीजें कर रहे हैं, टीवी देख रहे हैं, तो हमारा क्या है, हमारा जो आई का जो the angle at which we look at things is very short, right? But when we go out in nature, outdoors, what happens is we look at things which are close by and which are far off too, which means we switch between or shift our vision from short areas to the far off areas, जिससे हमारे आई मसल्स भी एक्सरसाइज होते हैं, हमारी आई साइट भी ठीक होती है. और जब हम केवल टीवी के या केवल स्क्रीन के आगे बैठे हैं, तो our eyes are becoming weaker, the muscles are not getting enough exercise, और इसीलिए we keep, all of us are wearing lot of spectacles.
Hmm, you're right. And you suddenly brought science somewhere around the topic, so I'm very excited for my next question, ma'am. I heard this term way long while I was preparing for my environmental sciences exam, and it was an entrance exam. So I heard the term bathing. I think it had emerged from Japan. I'm not very sure, and I am sure you are very sure about it. So you're going to give us a lot of info. But what do we call it? Is it a fitness trend, or is it a mindfulness practice, or a bit of both? So the question is, what exactly is forest bathing? And as per what I remember from the info, and I just Google it right now so that I have. I can also show that I have some knowledge. So the term emerged in Japan in the 1980s as a physiological and a psychological exercise called Shinrin Gyoku, forest bathing or taking in the forest atmosphere. So it is written that the purpose was twofold: to offer an eco antidote to tech boom burnout and to inspire residents to reconnect with and to protect the country's forests. So, ma'am, can you please enlighten us on this concept, what exactly it is, and help us understand what it is about?
This is such a beautiful concept you have brought today, because many of us are so engaged in looking at things which are away from nature and that take us more towards the city life or the commercial or the what you call, जहाँ पर आपका खूब loud noise and city dwelling things होती हैं. So when in Japan they saw, because of industrialization and lot of digitally things happening, people were spending a lot of time indoors, and they started experiencing that people are going more and more towards anxiety and depression levels. So, then this term, I mean, I would not say term, but this is a therapy, or this came up, this which is called forest bathing, या Japanese में कहें तो आपने बिल्कुल ठीक कहा, Shinrin Yoku in 1980s. Now, what happens is it is a practice that involves immersing ourselves in the natural environment, so of the forest, and mindfully engaging with its sights, sounds, smells, sensations, touch, everything. So when we think of the term forest bathing, it evokes the feeling of actually taking a bath in the forest. But it is far more. It is more about soaking up the environment in within us and experiencing the therapeutic benefits of being in the nature. तो कभी आप पिक्चर्स देखोगे या देखोगे तो उसमें होगा कि दे ये स्ट्रक्चर द एक्टिविटीज एंड दे एनकरेज पीपल to go to forest, have take them long and slow mindful walks, not at all be in a hurry, look at things, sense things, feel the things, pick up stones, be in water, and basically जो भी चीज वहां पर है उसको experience करें, because each and everything that you find in nature in the forests has therapeutic benefits, as we just discussed before. So, what does it mean? It means you have a mindful connection with nature. Slow down, be in the present and now, and engage all your senses while you spend time there. Rather than rushing for a forest hike or solely focusing on physical exercise, forest bathing encourages the participants to cultivate a sense of mindfulness, deep connection with the natural world around them. तो होगा क्या? Now, you all know that we have read science that in our natural world, I mean, in our day-to-day world, in the city life, we are experiencing a lot of stress and we release a lot of cortisol. हमारा sympathetic nervous system हमेशा on रहता है, जहाँ पर हम fight flight mode में, and we are always, buzzing up with activity. So a lot of cortisol is being released and we feel stressed. But when we slow down, when we mindfully engage in all these activities, the cortisol levels drop. And not only that, it has been seen there is, of course, the stress reduction and relaxation happening, but there is an immediate drop in the BP levels. और रिसर्च ने ये भी बताया कि इट इज़ नॉट ओनली शॉर्ट टर्म कि जब हम गए उसका थोड़े टाइम के लिए वी एक्सपीरियंस ऑल दीज थिंग्स. But even after 3 days, they saw this prefrontal cortex. When they researched or worked on it, they figured out they were far more creative than they were earlier before going to the forest area. यानी कि इसके जो इफेक्ट्स हैं वो लॉन्ग टर्म हैं. दे आर नॉट जस्ट दी सिंपल फिजियोलॉजिकल और साइकोलॉजिकल बेनिफिट्स हैपनिंग फॉर अ शॉर्ट पीरियड ऑफ टाइम. सो वी होता क्या है? You must have heard the terms phytoncides, have you?
I know a bit about it, but I'm not too sure in the scientific terms.
Right. So, हमारे जो trees होते हैं, they release something that is called phytoncides. These are the natural compounds. Now, and they have antimicrobial properties and they are beneficial for our human health. So, when we inhale phytoncides during forest bathing sessions, it boosts our immune system. It reduces inflammation and promotes overall health and vitality. और इसके apart from our health, well-being, हमारी creativity, हमारी cognitive, हमारी focused, the attention spans increase. It has been seen, and children who are having ADHD, they have been seen to have improved attention spans. and people who are generally experiencing those outdoor feelings, they are much more calmer, they are much more creative, they have greater attention spans as compared to other people. And not only this, Ananya, this has, as I said, we have a symbiotic effect, connect with the environment. तो होता क्या है कि जब हम as specifically as children, we go and spend time outdoors, we develop an identity or our belongingness with the nature. We don't see it as a place to go in or visit sometimes, we see it as our home. और जब होम को हम उसको देखते हैं तो हम क्या करते हैं, हम अपने घर का जैसे ध्यान रखते हैं, वी स्टार्ट टेकिंग केयर of the environment and build a relationship not only with the people that are going on with us in that visit, but also with the other species which are found in nature. यानी कि जो हम इतने कितने सालों से, decades से, we have been talking about, oh, earth is our planet, we need to do something about it, and we just release the data and we just talk about generating awareness. अवेयरनेस जनरेट करने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं है। हमको केवल क्या करना है, हमको ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा टाइम अपना और अपने बच्चों का कोशिश करनी है। वी स्पेंड आउटडोर्स, वी नीड टू ब्रिंग इन मोर एंड मोर पार्क्स एंड ग्रीन स्पेसेस इन आवर एरिया, जिसको हमने फॉरेस्ट को कट डाउन करके वी हैव बिल्ट द कॉन्क्रीट जंगल. When we do this, we will be seeing ourselves as belonging to that nature, it as our home, and environmental awareness will happen, the conservation will happen automatically, because there will be a stronger connection with the natural world, and we will preserve it also. So there are a lot of things. You not only, rejuvenate and have a transformative experience that nourishes our body, mind, and soul, but we also become the stewards of environment.
I now get it. So it's majorly about finding little moments of joy in nature and, to feel a sense of belongingness. But, ma'am, I have a very, very intriguing question that I have in mind for especially Gen Z generation. You talked about that we have grown in urban spaces and we might not have too much access to it. So, ma'am, some listeners might feel a disconnect from the outdoors. Maybe they grew up in cities or haven't had many positive experiences with nature. So, is there any advice to bridge that gap and overcome this initial apprehension? Because, as you said, the term home, I feel that not a lot of people, especially the younger generation, can call it their home so easily because they're so in their comfort zones with television on, with laptop on, and they being posting on Instagram. So, how can that be initiated?
You're so right, Ananya. So as we said, that for centuries and thousands of years, we had been living in close affinity with the nature.
Right.
But with the advent of technology, there has been the realignment of this affinity. This balance has been disturbed, and we have reversed this intimate relationship paradigm that once existed since evolution of humans. एंड जब हम जिस जगह पे रहना शुरू कर देते हैं, वी स्टार्ट थिंकिंग ऑफ द अदर थिंग एज separate entity. So what I mean by that, when the playgrounds started shrinking, we started building malls and buildings and industries in place of those parks and open spaces. So the gap would increase between the
Hmm.
urban living and the natural world. तो जाहिर सी बात है कि हमको लगेगा कि पार्क्स और ऑल दीज थिंग्स आर नॉट माय होम, आई डोंट बिलोंग देयर. We
Mhm.
feel more comfortable sitting in our air conditioned homes. So bridging this gap between urban living and connecting with nature might feel very daunting for those who, especially who didn't have positive experiences with the outdoors. But yes, we can certainly have some tips to overcome that initial fear and cultivate a deeper connection with nature. How can we do that? First, and most importantly, start small. Begin by incorporating small doses of nature into your daily routine, taking short walks in nearby parks or green spaces, even if it is just for a few minutes only during the lunch break, after work, or something like that. Once we start finding it little comfortable, we can gradually increase the time from few minutes to like 10 minutes or so, the time that we spend outdoors, and thus we will become more comfortable. Another thing that we can do is we can choose familiar settings. Generally, what happens is when we go to unfamiliar places, the fear factor is there. But when we go to familiar places we find safer. So don't go out to places which are far off. Take neighborhood parks, take botanical gardens or urban natural reserves that are there. Anything that is closer home and you feel familiar with that environment. So once you become pally with the familiar places, you can gradually build confidence to expand your comfort zone. Other things that you could do also is go with a friend or with a group of friends. Don't go alone. So while you are there, you have a supportive companion to provide you encouragement and companionship. And this provides a sense of safety while you are venturing outdoors, which might be daunting for you. Educate yourself, learn more about flora and fauna. Today the digital age has a lot of things to offer, and we can dispel our fears, inspire curiosity and appreciation while we do that. Practicing mindfulness is another thing that calms us down and takes care of our fears. We can seek guidance from experts, and above all, by staying patient with oneself and being kind to ourselves, we must remember that building any connection with anyone or with nature, it's a journey. It has its own pace. And so we need to be compassionate. We need to celebrate our small victories, acknowledge our small progresses. Don't compare your pace with someone else's. Maintain your own pace, take gradual steps, seek support, and approach nature with an open mind and heart. And you can overcome your initial fears and cultivate a deeper connection with outdoors. I hope that
Hmm.
answers your question.
Definitely, definitely. So we are to remember that it's about the journey and not the destination. And it is very, very crucial to take that first step and listen to nature's gentle whispers. It's nature is not that daunting. Instead, it is really uh, something that makes you calm, that makes you happy, that definitely helps us or have all those happy hormones, I'm sure. After this talk, I am sure maybe there's a scorching sun outside. I'll definitely not go out in the open, but we'll make sure to go out in the later evening and practice what you said. I'll probably be more patient, have some time, take out some time from my busy schedule, go out and see how nature actually boosts my mental well-being. So yes, there's
That's the
another.
right thing to do.
Thank you so much. So there's another question that came into my mind. When you said that the human population had been distracted recently and was continually committing actions to destroy the nature, instead of calling it home, we were limiting all the already limited green spaces that we had. So, but eventually, ma'am, we can see people getting back to ancient roots and adopting Ayurveda as a cure. So, how can we consider Ayurveda as an ecotherapy? And moreover, beyond the stress reduction and mood boost, are there any other mental benefits associated with ecotherapy? So, if you could please shed light on that as well.
This is such a beautiful thing because Ayurveda, being close to nature, I think that's what makes my heart sing with joy. So, first, let us understand how ecotherapy is different from the other traditional therapies. So, when we talk about the traditional therapy, generally what happens is ecotherapy takes place outdoors and in natural settings. It takes care of immersing a person in nature. That means anything that is connected with nature. Whereas what happens is traditional therapies typically they take place indoors, maybe in a therapist's office, a clinical setting. So while these environments may provide safety, confidentiality, but they also bring the disconnect from the natural world, which is conducive to healing, which is conducive to inherently calming us, grounding us, and giving us those therapeutic elements that facilitate introspection, relaxation, and building that connect. So, having understood that the holistic way of any kind of healing, now here I will draw your attention to treatment and healing. Healing is something uh, when you do things from the roots, cure it from the roots. But treatment could be treatment of just the symptoms that are visible. So having built up this basis कि ट्रेडिशनल जो थेरेपीज हैं वो केवल ऊपर के सिम्टम्स पे काम करती हैं, और इको थेरेपी यानी कि नेचर से जब हम कुछ करते हैं तो हम हील करते हैं. So what has been happening for centuries, humanity has been overlooking the importance of nature. अब जब हमने इम्पोर्टेंस को कम कर दिया तो हमारे एक्शन सारे कैसे हुए कि हमने एनवायरनमेंट को हार्म करना शुरू कर दिया. बट जब से जो है ना देयर हैज बीन ग्रोइंग अवेयरनेस ऑफ द इकोलॉजिकल इश्यूज, देयर हैज बीन अ रिसर्जेंस ऑफ इंटरेस्ट, and specifically in the ancient healing practices like Ayurveda. What is Ayurveda? It is an ancient system of medicine originating from our own country, Bharat, and it emphasizes a holistic approach to health that is deeply intertwined with nature. So, what is happening? Ayurveda again is healing from nature. There is a very beautiful quote that is in our scriptures that say, Yat Pinde Tat Brahmande, which means all that is outside of you is within you. Your body is a miniature universe. Right. So, having understood that, Ayurveda, views individuals as microcosm of this natural world, composed of the same elements found in the universe that we just talked about. So, how do we achieve health through Ayurveda? When there is the harmonious balance of these elements within the body, mind, and spirit. And Ayurvedic treatments often incorporate natural remedies which are derived from plants, herbs, minerals, and all the other elements of the earth which restore balance and promote healing. So, in this sense, if you look at Ayurveda, it is a form of ecotherapy and reconnects individuals with the nature's healing wisdom. By utilizing these natural remedies, and it aligns us, our bodies, with the rhythms, natural rhythms. Now, there are two types of rhythms. One we call as dincharya, or you can call in English the circadian rhythm. And the other is ritucharya, the seasonal wisdom or the seasonal cycles. So when we get into the rhythm of the nature from day to the night and of the seasons, our body generally releases all the right chemicals, because our body is all about releasing the chemicals. It could be good, bad, ugly. So if we are releasing the right chemicals while being aligned, all the physical ailments are addressed, and it also nurtures a deeper connection with the natural world, reduces stress, enhances moods, and offers many other benefits that come from the nature. So, Ayurveda embodies this principle of ecotherapy and harness nature's healing properties to restore this balance and promotes our well-being.
Okay, so now I understand that Ayurveda is not just treating the ailments from just the surface, but rather treating it in a holistic way. And what could be better than holistic development today? I mean, all SDG goals focus on this term as holistic development, and getting back to nature. And we have something deeply rooted in our culture, that's Ayurveda. It is just that we need to go back and connect to it so that we can, reach a better level. So thank you for the information on Ayurveda, ma'am. So one last question that I'll have for this podcast today is, ma'am, usually what happens is I've heard a lot of my friends saying, um, "Aaj bahut thand hai." It's winters, but they say, "Aaj bahut thand hai." And as soon as the weather changes, they say, "Oh my God, it's so humid." And when it's summers, "Oh my God, turn on the AC, it's so hot." So I was having a conversation with one of my mentors in a non-global foundation, and we just started talking about, it's so hot, it's so cold, it's so humid, we do not know about the weather. And she told me one sentence, and after which we had to part ways because there were prior commitments. So she told me that there is no bad weather, but bad clothing choices. So can you tell me how can a deeper connection to nature influence our perspective on this saying that there is no bad weather but only bad clothes? And what role does this mindset play in fostering a more sustainable and harmonious relationship with the natural world?
You're so right, Ananya. There is no bad weather, only bad clothes. So जब बारिश होती है तो हम क्या करते हैं? We sit inside home, or do we wear the raincoat or take an umbrella and go out?
We take the raincoat and go out because it's such a nice weather to be in.
And work should not stop, right?
Right.
So when it is cold, why do we say, "Arey, badi thand hai, bahar nahi jate, let's, sit in the inside." I mean, I'm not saying that you just, if there's nothing, you don't, hamesha hi bahar raho. But why to stop our work? Why to restrain ourselves from going out if it is cold? Because if for rain we have raincoat, we can have warmer clothes for winter season. So it is only the mindset. When we deeply believe in this, we build a mindset of resilience and adaptability and appreciation for the natural environment. We acknowledge each and every season. We appreciate the different colors of the seasons, and then we start enjoying them. Now, if you have talked about this statement, let me tell you where this statement comes from. We know the Scandinavian countries or the Nordic concept. So there is this mindset is deeply rooted there. And there is the concept of, I'll try to pronounce it because it's a Nordic word. I might not speak it correctly, but I'm trying to do that. It's free Luftsliv. And it emphasizes the importance of spending time outdoors. Why? Because it means um, or living in the open or love for nature. So when this concept says when you love nature, nature is not just only one type of season, it is different types of seasons. And you would be surprised to know that in Scandinavian countries and Finland, there are classrooms in the open even for the young ones, at least 6 to 8 hours each and every person in that dead cold. When it's snowing, it is too cold out there, they spend outdoors. Why? Because there is no bad weather, only bad clothes. This is the mindset. Now, how this perspective fosters a more sustainable and harmonious relationship with the world? Because we are embracing nature in all conditions. It encourages individuals to embrace nature's all forms, all different types of weather conditions. And when we adopt that mindset, we don't say there is any bad weather. We only look for opportunities to go outdoors, explore it. हम सर्दियों में जाते हैं ना in the hill stations specifically to enjoy the snow. So that is outdoor exploration. and individuals develop a greater sense of resilience and adaptability. So rather than avoiding any harsh weather, difficult weather, they equip themselves with appropriate clothing and gear and enable themselves to enjoy the outdoor activities throughout the year. And they cultivate, through this, we can cultivate respect for nature. We promote sustainable lifestyles because we are minimizing, when we align with the rhythms of nature, we are minimizing ecological footprint also. And we foster a sense of community. So if I have to summarize, I would say there is a deeper connection to nature as we embody these principles of Friluftsliv and influence our perspectives on weather and our relationship with the natural world, are realigned, we change, we embrace the idea, and develop respect for the nature in all its form. And as I said earlier, we become better environmental stewards. We start loving nature and protecting it. So, to sum it up, it's if we develop the right mindsets, we develop the right kind of relationship or bonding with nature.
This podcast has been so inspiring. From science to philosophy, to motivation, you've covered it all for the folks and for the listeners, ma'am. So thank you so much for giving us so much of knowledge and breaking it down for us in such a simple language that all these examples, all the facts that you stated will always remain with us. And I'm sure we're pretty motivated. I just might not. I mean, I just don't want to go out right now in the scorching sun. But I after this talk, I will to do this so much. But thank you so much. And this
And yeah,
podcast,
there is
yes,
no
ma'am.
scorching heat, there is no bad weather, just the bad gear. So equip
Right.
yourself with an umbrella or probably go and walk in shade of the trees. You don't have to be in outdoors in the sun directly. You can find the shade and enjoy the nature. But one more thing before I conclude, I like to say, Ananya, because young people like you are the future of this universe, not only the country, but the whole planet. And with this, the areas that are shrinking and the parks are reducing. Why this happens, please understand, when we spend less and less, हम किसी भी चीज को कम यूज करते हैं, तो वो चीज धीरे धीरे वेस्टिजियल जैसे ऑर्गन्स होते हैं हमारी कम्युनिटी से भी निकल जाता है. But when we start using it more and more, there is abundance because people see, hey, this thing is much in demand. Let me bring it to the availability of the people. So, what I would suggest is when young people like you start going out more and more in parks, क्योंकि जैसे हम क्या करते हैं, कोई भी छुट्टी हुई, कुछ भी हुआ, we prefer going to the mall and having, कोई birthday है तो having a party in the mall and with loud music and thing. What I would suggest, start going for picnics, start visiting parks and the ecological areas. What will happen? ये एक छोटा सा स्टेप लगेगा कि it is just for me, मेरे लिए ही well-being के लिए, but no, it has a huge impact on the community because when people start using these areas will grow. There will be more parks, more green areas because people will like to cater to the requirements of the citizens and the people living there. And once the number of parks, the number of greenery increases, तो जो गैप है हमारे और नेचर के बीच का, वो तो कम होगा ही होगा. आप लोग, you will start connecting more with the nature as it is your home. And then we don't need big seminars, बड़ी बड़ी जो है ना projects to save the planet Earth. This one simple step that we bring in green areas in school, we bring in kitchen gardens in our homes, छोटे छोटे house plants, right? So when you start touching them, caring for them, you develop that connect, and then not only the well-being of the human beings, but I would say the well-being of our planet Earth, beautiful Dharti Ma, का जो है well-being is also taken care of. So it is a vice versa or symbiotic thing. Let's not talk big things. Let's do small things. वो छोटी छोटी चीजें जिसके बहुत बड़े बड़े इम्पैक्ट्स होते हैं. Let's be action oriented. Let's just not talk कि अरे climate change हो रहा है, we need to do this, we need to do that. No. Get set, go do it.
You are absolutely right, ma'am. So it's the small actions that count, and especially we, the future generation, should take those little steps. It wouldn't take too much, but I'm sure after your talk, we can probably have small picnics on a weekend or just go out, spend time with our family outdoors, and try and spend as much time as we can spend in with the nature, or cultivate plants, or maybe sow a seed, as simple as that. So thank you so much again for this inspiring and a very informative talk, ma'am. And thank you for joining us and sharing your passion for nature therapy. So before we conclude, I just have something to say for all our listeners, that listeners, remember, nature is always waiting, ready to be your sanctuary for mental well being. So step outside, breathe deeply, and reconnect with the whispers of the wild. And do not forget to subscribe for more episodes on how to unplug and recharge in nature. And until next time, take care of yourselves and the planet. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Ananya. It was a pleasure being with you.
Thank you, Mom.